after you open up the trip wizard, you want up here. So as you can see, I have 5 trips sitting there, but let's create a new trip. And we're going to call this trip Test West. You know when you're leaving? No clue. Sometime, let's say this summer. You can go back and change that. Do create. Well, we want to start in our location. You could start somewhere else too. Let's say you anticipate in being, I don't know, the Grand Canyon. So you want to start a trip from there. You could do that. But in my case, I'm starting it from where I'm starting it, which is use my location. And I'm going to allow while visiting this site, this website. So it figures the whole thing out. And lo and behold, it's got me zeroed in. But now what? Trip notes. Well, we're going to say this is just a test trip. To go see Aunt Molly. Do I have an Aunt Molly? No, but it sounds good. Trip status. Tentative. It's not active because I don't have a date yet. So it's tentative. You can have pre-departure emails sent. And I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. My unit of measure is in foot, pounds, gallons. It's the imperial system. Our friends up in Canada might want to use the metric or other parts of the world, but we're using that. For RV information, you could actually look up your trailer and put in the bottom, fill in the blanks on that. But in my case, I'm going to manually put it in. The height I know is about 10'3", so I'm putting 10'6". Length of the trailer is 20 feet, but all together with the truck, it's about 40 feet. The weight, all together, trailer and the truck, we'll call it 10,000. My carrying propane, yep, 2 cylinders. Fuel type, regular unleaded. Fuel capacity, well, when I had the Tacoma, it's 21, but now I have a Tundra. So I have 35 to work with. And that still leaves me at least 7 gallons for reserve, but I'll say 5. Fuel mileage on the Tundra is about 10 miles per gallon pulling my trailer. And so when I'm mapping this out, I only want one warning. Don't give me 50,000 warning. Just tell me once where I need to add the fuel. And that's where that is. Next part of trip settings, routing and driving. And so under RV routing, there's standard routing. And what that's saying, I could take you on standard, but it's not going to do a whole lot for you. You want to use RV routing where it'll keep track of things like how tall is this rig going to be compared to where we're going to go. I'm not looking to avoid tolls. I'm not looking to avoid highways. I would like to avoid ferries. I would like to avoid tunnels. Unpaved roads, okay. It's a 20-foot trailer, not that big, and towing behind my Tundra, not a big deal. And my trailer, it's got an off-road package. Not a big deal. Now, driving time estimates. How would you like to calculate your driving time? Use the routing engine. So use the computer to figure out the estimate. Or use my average driving speed, which is right down here at 55. Well, I'm going to use the routing engine estimate. I've done well with that, and so I'm going to stick with that. All right, so driving radius. So what it does, it puts out there a bullseye or it puts a splat. So show advanced driving radius, it puts a splat. So when you're on a highway, you're going to travel differently than if you're on a back road. So that's what that takes into consideration. However, or if you're in the city. However, I like to see the classic, which is a bullseye. I've always done well with that. So that's what I'm going to use. Next part, and this is all very individualistic, right? Do you want to drive a set number of hours a day, or do you want to drive a set distance a day? Frankly, I'm going for distance. All right, I know around 210, 220, I'm going to need to start looking at fuel. So we're going to just put in 200. And then I'm getting a little tired and need some rest, so we're going to put in 300. And I don't want to go past 400 for that day. And that's a pretty long day, 400 miles. So, expenses. Camping a night, I tend to average about 60 bucks a night. Meals for two of us, you get 3 meals a day. Some of it we fix along the way, just some sandwiches, whatever. Let's say 60 though. Miscellaneous expenses, whatever you want to call that. Miscellaneous. Average cost per gallon for gasoline, $3.79 is pretty safe. Do you want to recalculate at all the stops? And we're just going to say yes. And save and finish. All right, now we are set to conquer the world. Where do we want to go? Let's say that we want to go to the Grand Canyon South Rim. Matter of fact, Grand Canyon National Park South entrance right there. All right, so we're going to add this to the trip. We're not spending any nights there. We're not going to lock in the date there or anything else. Add this after last stop. Well, this is our first stop, so there is no other stops. And this is as far as we go. All right, we're going to call this the terminus of the trip. So we're going to save that. And now the computer is going to try and figure out what is the best way to accomplish this route. And so that's what the computer thinks would be the smartest way, in which most direct way between two stops is a straight line, right? So it did a pretty smart job. But we're going to add a few things in there just to keep things interesting. I see we're near Kentucky, and over in Kentucky there is Mammoth Caves, it seems to me. There it is. Mammoth Caves. So we're going to add that to the trip. We're not spending the night there, so not number of nights. We're going to add it in at this right here in Newburgh, New York. That's where I live. So this will be our first stop on the way out to Grand Canyon. So it's going to route this in for us. And this is the way it looks. Not too bad, pretty straight line, right? All right, so for part of this trip, you see this line up here, South Bend and Juliet. Up there is the RV Hall of Fame. And how much fun would it be to stop up there? So in the search, I'm going to put in the RV Hall of Fame. And there it is in Elkhart, Indiana. So we're going to add that to the trip. Again, we're not spending the night there. Now, is this going to be before or after that Mammoth Cave Park? I think it is before the Mammoth Cave Park, but it's after home. So we're just going to put it right there. Excuse me. So if we take a step back and just see where we are, right? So that's where we come from. There's the first leg, and the next leg, and the next leg. So we are in the right order so far. All right, well, let's mix a little bit more in there to make it interesting. We want to add in that area there, Elvis Presley, Graceland. How cool would it be to go past there? Because we're going right not too far from there. So let's select that. Now, if we back this off far enough, you can see that dot. If we back it off too far, that dot is going to disappear, and then you got to reestablish it again. But we know it's after Mammoth Caves, but if you zoom in back again, it's gone. So let's just click on it again. We're going to add the trips. We said it was after the Mammoth Cave, so we're going to put it there. So now we back up. That's there, and that's there. Now, let's see what happens, just for ha-has. The Corvette Museum. I know that's in Kentucky too. But I'm not quite sure where, but we're going to add it to the trip. I don't know where it is. So, just for Haas, let's put it after Graceland. Does that make sense? Let's find out. So we back off. And so here's what we got. I'm coming from home, go to Elkhart, Indiana, Mammoth Cave, Graceland, and then back up to National Corvette Museum. That makes no sense. See how they're opposite. So I'm going to take a hold of this and just slide it down. Now I go from here to here to here. And so this just gives the idea of how to pluck in places to go. Now, next part is fuel stops. So if I center this here, I have to get fuel before that little gas station sign. All right, so I'm going to turn on this little icon up here. And I have this set up where it'll hit fuel and miscellaneous gas stations, and make sure it selects all the ones I want. I like Loves for gasoline because you can join their club for free, and all you got to do is just give them, I think it was just email, and the bottom line is, give me your phone number, because that's the way the whole thing is registered, and you get 10 cents off a gallon. Now when you're taking a big trip, you save hundreds of dollars. So zoom in a little bit, and then, well, I don't have to hit search for point of interest because they already show up. All right. I know I had to get it in before this point, and I know this is really pushing it. So the question is, well, we might say, well, how much is it pushing it? So we could add this. It's the first gas stop. So we put it in after home. And let's see where we're at. Now my comfort zone is I don't want to put any more than 30 gallons in, and I'd like to do nothing less than 20 to make it worthwhile. So how do I know where I stand? I'm going that far. Am I overboard or not? So I'll go over here, Loves Travel Stop, and I see where it says edit. So we're going to hit that little pencil, and I'll say top off. Ooh, 30 gallons. I am right at the edge. Remember I said I'm comfortable between 20 and 30 gallons. 35 gallons is my max, and I think it holds really 40, 42 gallons, so I don't like pushing it too much, just me. You could do what you want. But the bottom line is I can do this. So we're going to hit top off, that little right there, and then save. All right, now you notice that this is now in the bullseye, and this is where we came from, and this is where we're going. And you'll notice, okay, now we got to establish another gas station. Let's try not to go as far as that, and search for point of interest. And we have the green line here. I'd like to stay a little more within the green line, if possible. So what do we got here? We got a Sunoco and Clyde, Ohio. So you know what? We could go here and see fuel prices. And if we look in here, and Clyde, Ohio, which is where we're at, and we can see fuel prices, they're pretty much the same, 2.19. The only ones that are different, like Speedway, which I think you have to belong to their club anyway, it seems to me. So aside from that, they're all in very close to the same thing. So I'm just going to close that up. That was with a right hand click on the mouse button, by the way. So you know, I'm gonna just do this, add to the trip, and I believe we already stopped at a Love's, and now we're moving on to the next gas station. So that would be it. Now we could double check to make sure that we have everything in order. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to turn off all the rest of the gas stations. Love's, Sunoco, Hall of Fame. Now it's interesting. Why do we have this overlap here? And probably, no, it is a Von. Oh, I don't like the way that exits out because it's like you got to double track yourself in here. Let's take out that Sunoco station. We're going to delete that. And then I'll say, show me other ones. Can we get to that Love's up here? Let's find out. Add to trip. Last stop was at a Love's. Now we got another Love's. Let's see where this ends up. 24.92, 25 gallons. I like it. So we're going to keep that. So this is how I do it. I use the bullseye to help me determine where to stop. So you'll notice that we have this part right here. From here to here, we're good. Now if we were going straight, it would be here. But this road bends. And this is why I like this little warning. Oh, by the way, the road is bent. It doesn't just go on straight. So right in here, we would look for a gas station. Maybe a little farther in Kokomo. But that's how I do that. Now the next step is you got to sleep. And so I would center again on here. Remember that the absolute farthest I wanted to go for a day is this red line. Well, this is our first day out. I'm going to be feeling pretty fresh. So let me turn off the fuel. Let me turn on the campsites. Drag it over a little bit. And Streetsboro Cleveland KOA. It's got 8 out of 10 rating for reviews. It's got 436 reviews. That's a lot of reviews. An 8 out of 10, that tells me it's a pretty good place. If it was 6 out of 10, it means marginal. Less than 5 out of 10, you don't want to stay there. I don't care how desperate you are. I see that they have electric, water, sewer. They're big rig friendly. Um, they're happy with the dogs. They got Wi-Fi, and so, but we see they got 3 of these lit up, and so we want to see how that looks on here. So we're going to go into park details. What are people paying? So on reviews, paying 60, 65. Now we can hit more reviews, and that'll literally log me on to a different page. I don't really feel like going through all that. But the bottom line is, everybody likes it. Very nice KOA. They camped there for 5 nights and good reviews. And the weather, no information, but right now it's snowing there. There's some tips. Sometimes people tell you, hey, by the way, when you're here, go do this. So, so to me, this is satisfactory. It has all the stuff I'm looking for. Full hookup, sewer, cable. Kid friendly, I don't care because my kids are all a little grown, like completely grown. I have grandkids now. Dump station. So now this is my first stop. That means my black tank is not going to have much in it by the time I get done camping one night, so I'm not going to worry about that. Gray water. My black tank, I know I'm good for 5 or 6 days, and then I have to empty it at least on 6 days if I go that far. I don't like to go more than 2 or 3 though. My gray tank, I have to empty it after 2 or 3 days if we're doing showers in there too. Sometimes what we'll try to do is we'll do showers. If they have a clean bathroom, we'll do showers there. The other thing is, number 1 is done in the trailer, number 2 is not. That's just the rule of thumb that we follow. Helps make my life a little easier when it comes to cleaning things. It's just how we do it. You don't have to do it that way, but it's how we do it. Anyway, I like this place. We're only staying there one night. It's got good reviews. So we're going to add this to our trip. Now, this is our first stay, but it's not our first stop. We left home. We already stopped at a gas station. I don't think we made it to the next one yet. But we'll see. We're going to add it there. Add to the trip. Let's turn off all the other campgrounds. And let's see if... All right. So let's go back one more stop. That's where we start out. There's the Love's trip. Love's gas station. That's where we're spending the night. Next Love's gas station. RV Hall of Fame. Mammoth Caves. That's where everything's all in a line. But what if we put this place where we're staying, what if we put it in the wrong spot? Let's say we made a mistake and we thought we're going to stop at 2 gas stations before we spend the night. So now if we look at how we go on the map here, you'll notice there's darker blue there. See how it's darker? That's a lighter blue, that's darker. So that means you doubled over. So this is how it translates. You start home, Love's Travel Stop number 1, Love's Travel Stop number 2. Wait a minute, between these two, I just passed where we're supposed to be camping. And then that goes back to the camper. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't like to double track. So I just grab a hold of this right here, drag it up, and now you have an order that makes sense. Just like that. And as the trip goes out, keep adding gas stations and places to stay, and also places to go to that's cool places. You know, perhaps you want to alter your trip a little bit. Maybe you want to go to Roswell because down there is a big UFO thing down in Roswell. So let's put in UFO. Did that pull up anything? UFO observation tech in Slovakia. No, I don't think so. UFO campground in Fort Duchesne. I think I said that right, in Utah. But I know down here What else is in Roswell? I know there was some interesting things there. I'm just trying to remember how to do with UFOs and stuff like that. So we're not going to look it up now, but we want to go in that direction just to make it interesting. So we're going to say add the trip. And we know that this trip is after Graceland somewhere. And we know that the terminus of this trip is Grand Canyon. So that's how that one goes. Now what about getting home? This is a one-way trip so far. So if we click on round trip options, do we want to mirror back exactly how we came? Not really. How about direct route back to start point? Yes, because then we could add in more lines as we go. So we'll just do direct route. Then we'll figure out what the rest of that looks like as we go. All right, that gives the idea. If you're interested in more tutorials, I got lots more in here to cover. We could do this for a long time. We still have not hit map settings. We haven't really dove into the points of interest very much, or the hazards and the benefit thereof. We haven't talked about elevation, which is nice to know, not so much in the east, but as you get out west, it's good to know. But this is a good primer to get you started. If you want to know more, please tell me, and we're going to add more videos.